Ebenezer just wants to sleep, but Marley's making meetings. Here's your Christmas spot on the Funko Pop books, A Christmas Carol, Jacob Marley. Add a chilling touch to your holiday collection with the Pop Holiday Jacob Marley figure from A Christmas Carol. Bound in heavy chains and draped in ghostly attire, this iconic character serves as a poignant reminder to the consequences of one's actions. Perfect for fans of the classic tale, this figure embodies the spirit of redemption and the importance of embracing the change during the festive season. Boy, those books of Marley's look awfully heavy. I'm so glad I don't have to wear the collectibles I've bought in life. How about the ho ho ho? How about before we get a closer look at the Funko Pop books, number 39, Jacob Marley, let's grab the tape measure and let's see how tall the figure stands. We've already, by the way, if you're taking tally, have looked at Ebenezer Scrooge, and I do hope you guys had the chance to check out that review. Jacob Marley, though, is going to stand at about 5 inches in height, or he's going to be about 13 centimeters tall. While we haven't been visited yet by three spirits, we have been, though, visited by Ebenezer Scrooge. We're going to slide him in right now, and right away you can see that you can interlock the bases together. One of the downsides, though, to that is unless you really have all the Funko Pops laid out in a row like this, that's the only way that they can connect. I suppose, too, you could also bring the display bases in the front like this and just have like 2 rows of them, which I might just end up doing because I can't occupy that much of the mantle. That's a naughty thing for me to do, considering that I share the mantle with other people in the household, and I don't think they want to have the entire mantle occupied by Funko Pops. While, though, also Ebenezer Scrooge could go on his merry little way, you can easily detach, sometimes a little too easily, from his display base. Jacob Marley is just as much of a prisoner of his display stand as he is to the chains that he wears. Yeah, unlike Ebenezer Scrooge, Jacob Marley, there's no way you can actually remove the Funko Pop from his base. In order to give him a levitated look like this, it has to then rely on this clear post that attaches to the back of his body. It isn't even so much even clear either. You can see it's got a slight bit of a bluish tint. But it attaches from the bottom of the base, it goes all the way up the back, and it just attaches into his back. The only thing I will be concerned with, though, over time, and it would only really be time that would allow me to know whether this is going to happen or not, is because it's attached only here. I wonder if this is a clear acrylic plastic, or any really plastic for that matter, if after a while it's going to cause, I'm not going to do it obviously because I don't want to force this any faster, I wonder if this is going to start to droop forward. And that would be a terrible thing if that was the case. I feel like, obviously you want to get the point across that this guy is floating on top of his base. But I think probably in a case like that, I would have also added a little bit of plastic in between his feet. Even something that was at the back where it'd be harder to see, even if it was maybe the same color as what we get on the back, just so that it would ensure that the figure isn't going to start to lean forward. I have a few statues that rely on things that kind of keep them propped up and levitated off the base. And they all seem to do this after a while. They all kind of start to droop forward. And I'm sure that that's probably going to also end up happening here with Jacob Marley. And I really hope that that's not the case. It's also really strange, too, that Jacob Marley never appears outside on the city streets, and yet he comes with a display base that kind of evokes that. Also, Ebenezer Scrooge. Really, all the characters, when you think about them, I mean, maybe the ghost. The ghost you could probably easily say, and obviously Tiny Tim would all be walking around on the outside, but I guess they also wanted to keep the bases all kind of consistent with one another. Jacob also has to break up the mold a little bit by having the post on the back. They have actually made a little hole on the bottom of his base. Obviously when we looked at Ebenezer Scrooge never had that, but the exact same molding other than just that. The figure of Jacob Marley does also glow in the dark. I'm going to cut the lights, though, in a second. I'm just going to reach off to the side here and grab my black light. It's always a good stand-in just to show you guys how this does glow without, of course, cutting the lights. But I'll do that in a second. You can see like all the front of his body does glow. The front of his face also glows very brightly too. I mean, obviously, it's a little harder to show you guys this with the studio lights on. But in a second, don't worry, I'll cut the lights and you guys can see what this guy looks like in the dark. In the meantime, though, detail-wise for Marley, he's got, of course, the bandage that kind of keeps his jaw together. It's one thing that we don't tend to see a lot in the Christmas Carol classics. Some of the ones do show you guys that Jacob Marley, basically, his lower jaw has to be kind of kept together with the front of his face. Was it maybe, I think it was the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol, where they actually showed what it looked like when he took the bandage off. Basically, his just entire bottom jaw just dropped down. So he kind of has the bandage to kind of keep his face together. I love the way they've actually airbrushed areas around the eyes. Normally, eyes for Funko Pops would be dark black. Marley being a ghost in spirit, after all, obviously they make his eyeballs a little bit lighter in color. Dark eyebrows still, lighter color there, nicely done for his hair. The one unfortunate thing, though, about Marley is that you can't turn his head completely all the way around. I mean, he's a spirit anyway, so I don't think we have to worry all that much for snapping the guy's neck. His neck probably was already snapped anyways, but that's as far that you can really do with Jacob's head. That, you know, you can't turn it all the way around. I mean, when I'm starting to turn it, I feel like it's fighting me, so I'm going to stop what I'm doing right away. His hands are sort of up in a ghostly way. Of course, he's carrying around with him all these heavy chains consisting of, I guess, that would be all like money chain, like money, like safes. He's got also, of course, books. He takes, of course, like the tally of you know, the investing and all the other things that they're doing also as well. But all the little books and stuff that he's got, nicely colored. The coloring of that is actually the same sort of blue that they've given here as well for his jacket. The chains himself a little bit more darker of a color. I like the lighter color of his pants. That match pretty close to the coloring of his face. But yeah, he's very limited in articulation. I mean, when we looked at Ebenezer Scrooge, just going to bring him back here, you could rotate his head easily all the way around. Just don't burn his face or his hair, whatever you do with that candlestick. But yeah, you could rotate him all the way around. You just can't do as much for Jacob Marley. The only thing I don't really like about Jacob Marley is the one thing that kind of gives him his charm, is that he's floating like this. By having the post on the back and being the only thing that the figure relies on for giving him that levitated look, I think like after a while, that's probably going to start to droop. You know, again, like they probably could have added a little bit of plastic in between the feet, maybe just a little bit of a supporting strut, something just to keep him balanced like this. Because you may not be able to see it right now, but I don't know. I think with the years of having this guy displayed, he is probably going to start to droop a little bit. Now, of course, obviously, this guy does glow in the dark. It's not just enough for me, guys, to show you guys with a black light. Shining that across the front is fine and good. But you guys want to see what this looks like in the dark, so why don't we just do that and cut the lights right now? As we all sit here in complete darkness, I'm going to reach once again to my black light here. I'm going to just illuminate the front of Marley's face, just enough that it can absorb as much of that light as I can. And then I'm going to, in a second, move this out of the way so you guys can see how this glows. Now, while I'm doing this also on the front of his face, you can also move a little bit down below here to his lower body. Let's just move it out of the way. Can you see that? It's a little harder to show that in front of the camera, but I can tell you in firsthand, seeing it as I am with my eyes, it does look like it is glowing a very bright, kind of turquoise blue. Maybe you can, I'll do it a couple more times. Don't worry, I'll do it a couple more times. Just to let that. Now, I'm using a black light. Truth be told, though, if I was using my office studio lights, it'd probably be a lot easier to absorb the light. And it'd probably do a much better job of glowing than it is right now. Back to visible light and a spinning spirit of Jacob Marley. Funny though enough that I actually picked up Jacob Marley first from Retro Festive. You seem to probably hear me say that a lot. Like for Halloween and Christmas, Retro Festive tend to be the place that I go to. And they're pretty close too. I mean, if I was to hop into a car, I think they're about 45 minutes away, but a lot of times I usually just have them deliver stuff to my doorstep. But I had picked up Jacob Marley, and you know, they do this thing when every other site does this also as well. You pick the one thing and you add it to your cart, and then down below it always says, you picked this, may we also recommend as well. Sure enough, wouldn't you know it, they also recommend Ebenezer Scrooge, Tiny Tim, and all the other three goes. I picked the first half up of the 6-figure wave. And then, of course, wouldn't you know it, Retro Festive now drops a Black Friday sale on Funko Pops, where you buy 3, and it's like $33 for 3. Wouldn't you know it, you buy 3 for $33, and I only need the last 3 ghosts to complete the set. You probably already know the direction that this is going to go. One thing, though, about Jacob Marley is, unlike Ebenezer Scrooge, you can't detach this guy from his display stand, which is fine. I don't think I want to. The fact that he's floating anyways would be a hard thing to have him removed from a display base, because what would it be? It would probably be like a single peg attached to both of his feet. And then even if you just removed it from the base, putting him down on his own, he would only fall forward anyways. So they decided instead just to permanently attach this guy to the display base. But I think one better, though. Funko probably should have added something underneath his feet. I know it loses some of the illusion of this guy floating, but at least it would ensure that he's not going to start to lean, which I really hope isn't going to be the case, because I hate to think like this year of having him displayed on the mantle with all the other Christmas Carol Funko Pops, he's probably going to be fine. The question, though, would then be next year or the year after that. After over time, I mean, this guy's probably going to go only back to his plastic prison after the Christmas season's wrapped up and we're kind of taking down all the decorations. Maybe putting him back in the clamshell case will kind of keep him upright. The test will certainly be whether having this guy now displayed on my mantle till probably, I would say, like the first week or two of January, how much more further forward is he going to lean? I hope the answer to that is none at all. What do you guys, though, think of Jacob Marley? Let me know down below in the comments section. Is this one that you guys could see yourselves picking up? I know, like Funko Pop, it's a very divided collectible. If you're a collector of it, you collect a whole lot of it. You're the kind of collector that you probably could walk into that person's room and they have just an entire wall, floor to ceiling, nothing of sealed Funko Pops. You don't tend to have a lot of them displayed loose. Or you're probably just the casual collector of them. Those tend to be the collectors that probably take them out of the box, put them on the display shelf, not at all concerned that they have to stay sealed inside of their boxes. Or you got a guy like me. I only pick up one or two here or there. I seem to a lot of times pick up more Funko Pops that are linked to holidays. I mean, we looked at a whole bunch of them during Halloween. We seem to be looking now at a whole bunch of them during Christmas. If you guys did enjoy this video, do it a solid. Throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Make sure, obviously, you're hitting that subscribe button. You're turning on the bell. But the most important thing is that you're also coming back. As we, of course, continue our journey into Christmas carols and Funko Pops, how many more will this guy actually pick up? You guys will have to stick around to find out. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.